Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel looks like they've cast some of the new Fantastic Four characters, including some metaphorically and literally big ones like Galactus, so we'll break it all down. We also learned a little bit more about the actual story and how they're going to explain the MCU version of the Fantastic Four only just showing up now, even though they're supposed to have been in the MCU this whole time.
I have no idea where I am in time and space.
If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the episodes. We have Ahsoka episodes coming up in a couple weeks. I'll be doing videos for all those. Loki Season 2 episodes right after that. So there's a bunch of big stuff coming up. But you probably saw everyone talking in your feeds about the new casting reports. It looks like Vanessa Kirby is going to be the new Sue Storm Invisible Woman. She talked about it earlier this year before they locked all the characters down too.
Finally, everyone wants you as Invisible Woman in Fantastic Four. How is, this training preparing you to do your own stunts in a Marvel movie, perhaps?
Oh, it would be an honor. It would be an honor to play Sue Storm. Yeah,
Congratulations.
She's amazing, so it would be a complete honor.
It definitely feels like she was very excited about the character, like she was pretty sure she was going to be the new Invisible Woman, but they hadn't completely signed the deal yet, like the ink wasn't dry.
She had a fascination for paradoxes.
I've done a couple videos about the movie earlier this year, and since then, what's changed is the strike, mostly delaying everything, causing a bunch of scheduling problems. So a bunch of actors that they supposedly were going to use earlier this year have since dropped out. So if you didn't like the actors that they picked before, this is sort of like a blessing in disguise for you. Kevin Feige already said that the movie and the team, like the whole vibe, will be very different from the previous Fantastic Four movies, just so that it feels like a totally new thing while still basing it on the original Fantastic Four comics. Reportedly, the way they're going to explain how the team has been around this whole time in the MCU, but we're just learning about them now, is that they'll say they come from the 1960s and wind up traveling through time to present day before the events of Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty and Avengers 6 Secret Wars. Supposedly that's meant to pay off the Easter egg from Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness that was supposedly going to set up what was going on with the MCU version of the team, because in the 838 version, their backstory was a little bit different.
Hello, Stephen.
Fantastic Four. Didn't you guys chart in the 60s?
During the movie, when Doctor Strange jokes about the Fantastic Four charting during the 1960s, there was a group called the Fantastic Four in real life, but that was also sort of a sly wink that Marvel was going to say that the MCU version of the team was from the 1960s. Now, they didn't say whether or not that also means that Doctor Doom is also from the 1960s in the MCU, because in the 838 universe, there was a version of Doctor Doom that they referenced when they were doing commentary for the movie. Like when they were writing the film, they envisioned that a lot of Doctor Doom was going on in the background. There were a lot of Easter eggs for his character, even though they weren't planning on introducing him during that movie.
Lashana Lynch.
Lashana Lynch was a pleasure to work with.
Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four.
So was John.
Hello, Stephen.
Teleportation device he uses to get into the scene is something we took from the comics. That's Doctor Doom's time door, time platform.
Stephen, but it's not the Scarlet Witch that we fear.
And while it is not Professor X's first time on screen, it is the first time we see that hover chair from the animated series.
Reed Richards is my favorite Marvel Comics character, so it was a real honor to write his first entry, I guess, here in the MCU.
Whether or not the new MCU version of Doctor Doom is also going to be from the 1960s, it sounds like he would be because it's such a huge part of their backstory, but they might change that. He's not supposed to be in this first new Fantastic Four movie, at least the MCU version of the character. They're supposed to cast the character and introduce him in some other upcoming movie, but they haven't said which one that's going to be. My early guess right now is they probably intend on using him in a story that balances his magic and technology more than the original Fantastic Four movies did. Those Fox movies never really got into Doctor Doom being a powerful magic user. He's meant to be near Doctor Strange level in terms of ability. He also comes from Romani, the same way that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have a lot of Romani as part of their backstory, even though technically their father is Magneto. The difference is that he's also a man of science. Think Iron Man if he also used a lot of magic to power his armor, and a lot of his plans revolved around the use or need for magic and mystical forces. The funny thing about that is that there was a what-if story where Iron Man became Doctor Strange and used a lot of magic to power his Iron Man armor, and there's a version of Tony Stark in the Marvel Comics that eventually does become Sorcerer Supreme. They even had an Easter egg for that during Avengers Infinity War, where Iron Man wears the Cloak of Levitation and briefly becomes sort of Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange wears Iron Man's armor, becoming what they call in the movie the Iron Mage. They wound up deleting that scene, so hopefully they'll bring that back at some point, maybe in Avengers 6 Secret Wars, maybe Avengers 5 Kang Dynasty, just like another universe version of Iron Man that shows up who became Doctor Strange, in another universe version of Doctor Strange that became Iron Man. But if they're doing more magic-based Doctor Doom stories when they start the character out, the upcoming Fantastic Four movie is more of like a cosmic time travel movie. It makes sense that they wouldn't use him right away in that film, also because they want to be different from the original Fantastic Four movies. Supposedly in this new Fantastic Four movie, the main villain will be Galactus. Supposedly they're casting Antonio Banderas as Galactus. That's the huge surprise.
The highlights probably is not actually one movie, two movies, three movies. It's just the amount of...
One, that they're actually doing Galactus. Really excited about that. Want to see comic book accurate Galactus in the MCU. But also that they go for Antonio Banderas. Now, there are probably a lot of actors that could pull off Galactus' voice because most of it would be a voiceover role, but if you're going to do a comic book accurate Galactus, he does have a humanoid-looking form, even though he's highly evolved. He just happens to be a planet-sized looking person. Like, would it be Antonio Banderas' face in Galactus' helmet with his suit?
The scale is again in balance. All is as it was.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
The other obvious reason for casting a relatively well-known, very good actor would be to show him as Galen of Ta, so you can learn some of Galactus' backstory. A lot of people think Galactus is going to be another Celestial in the MCU just because he looks so similar to the Celestials, but he's actually very, very different. He has a much different backstory. Galactus is a human from the previous version of the universe, so there's this whole cycle of big bangs in the multiverse where everything dies, contracts down, there's another big bang, in another universe, another multiverse is born. They call those the different cosmos, so we're like in the 7th or the 8th version of the universe right now in the main MCU. It's already happened many times. Galactus was named Galen of Ta, and he was one of the last survivors of the previous version of the multiverse. He witnessed its heat death. He's sort of like a He Who Remains type of character, surviving to the very end of the multiverse. And instead of being destroyed in the process of the next Big Bang like everything else, the 7th cosmos, sort of like the will, the consciousness of that entire multiverse, made a contract with him so that they could both survive into the next cosmos, into the next version of the multiverse. They entered the cosmic incubation chamber, and then after the Big Bang, the next multiverse was born. He emerged as Galactus, the World Eater. So Galactus is kind of like a person plus the essence of an entire multiverse, all combined into one. The funny thing about that, though, is that doesn't make him more powerful than the Celestials. Within the comics, at least, he's actually fairly afraid to go up against a Celestial host. They usually give each other pretty wide berth, so like he lets the Celestials do everything that they're supposed to be doing on a cosmic scale, like Arishem the Judge. And the very important cosmic purpose that Galactus serves is kind of like Thanos' plan in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. He gets rid of dead planets so that new life can grow in its place. Sort of in the way that farmers work with their gardens, like they'll burn parts of their garden to help enrich the soil so that new life can grow. So even though Galactus is portrayed as a world eater and everybody hates him, like, oh, you're going to destroy our world, actually he serves an important cosmic purpose. He debuted in the very early Fantastic Four comics in a special called The Coming of Galactus. And the reason why he came to consume planet Earth is because it was so enriched with cosmic energy. Within the MCU, early theory is that he's coming back to planet Earth to consume it because of Tiamat's body. Its celestial body is full of so much cosmic energy and resources that he wants to consume that. Originally, Adam Driver was going to be the MCU version of Reed Richards. Supposedly, the studio's still trying to lock him down, but their backup plan is Matt Smith. Now, I'm a huge Matt Smith fan, loved his Doctor Who, his more dramatic movies, and he's awesome as Daemon Targaryen on House of the Dragon.
Say it. He can keep his tongue.
He and Vanessa Kirby would be like the unhinged, crazy, horny energy versions of the Fantastic Four. I love it. It would be totally nuts if they wind up playing the characters. I know a lot of you would just rather than bring back John Krasinski as 616 MCU Reed Richards. A few years ago, I would have said the same thing, like just bring him back and say he's from another universe. Who cares if the 838 version got turned into spaghetti? The closest I think they're going to revisiting John Krasinski as a version of Reed Richards is Deadpool 3, when Deadpool is supposedly going to travel to the 838 universe and interact with those versions of the X-Men, Fantastic Four, other Fox Marvel characters. That might be the universe where he finds this comic book accurate looking version of Wolverine, since all the characters in that movie are meant to be closer to the versions from X-Men the Animated Series, but played by the classic X-Men and Fox Marvel actors. Like even Chris Evans is supposed to have a cameo scene as his Human Torch from the Fantastic Four movies. The other recent report is that Eben Moss-Bachrach is supposed to be playing Terrax, who will be the herald of Galactus in the movie, not Silver Surfer. I'm assuming if they come from the 1960s, then Galactus came for Earth in the 1960s, and Silver Surfer just hadn't become his herald at that point in the timeline yet. Even though he's been fantastic on the Bear series, most of you remember him as Micro from the Marvel Netflix Punisher. Even though Punisher is coming back during Daredevil Born Again, he's supposed to be a big character during Daredevil Born Again Season 1. I don't expect Micro to come back, or at least that version of Micro, especially if he's playing Terrax in the new Fantastic Four movie. We'll get more casting news and details soon, so I'll do more videos for the movie when we hear who's playing the other characters. But big reminder that because of all the strike delays, a lot of the actors might be dropping out or changing for different reasons, so the longer this drags on, the greater the likelihood that that happens. We'll start getting more Loki Season 2 trailers soon, and my Ahsoka episodes will start in a couple weeks, so be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss anything. There'll be a bunch of other big stuff happening too. So click here for that brand new Loki Season 2 trailer, and click here for my new Ahsoka trailer with Luke Skywalker and Anakin. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.